All right, my name is Claire. I'm the volunteer program director for Seal Watch. And for introductions, I'd like to hear your name, a little bit about you, and then what interests you the most about Seal Watch. So, what you'd like to learn, what you're excited about, what your experience with Seal Watch is. And I think Lisa is going to choose people to get us started. Thank you.
Thank you, Claire. So I'm just going to go and order my screen. So let's have David Berman and then Christine, and Bethany.
All right. Good morning, everybody. Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. Can you hear me out there? Okay, good. So my name is David Berman. Uh, I am the chair of the board of directors for Stewards. I know on my screen it says Sonoma Water in the background. It's because I couldn't find the fun picture of without the logo. I do work my 9 to 5 job. I work as an educator for Sonoma Water. I coordinate the fifth grade program up on the Russian River near Wohler Bridge. I've been there for about 10 years. I was program director at Stewards of the Coast and Redwoods from 2015 or 2012 to 2015. And I just love the ocean. And I teach a California naturalist class, and I am excited for Seal Watch and really excited about the program. And what interests me most is just the biodiversity and the beauty and the healing of the ocean and the water.
Thank you. Let's go to Christine and then Bethany. Oh, Christine, you need.
Long? Okay. Hey, I'm Christine Long. I live in Occidental and I've been doing Seal Watch for a couple of years now. I come from the East Coast where I was involved at the Philadelphia Zoo as well. I've always been interested in animals and our ecosystem. And I think what interests me most about Seal Watch is we've got really this magical place in Jenner where the ocean meets the river, and it's just a fantastic spot and opportunity to teach people, that have lived here, that don't come here a lot, or that are new to the area, that we have this really incredible place where we've got this seal nursery, and a couple feet up the river, we've got otters as well. This year, unfortunately, I think what really is interesting me is how the avian flu is going to affect the mammals, which, I'm sure from what I'm hearing from other environmentalists is going to be happening. So that's not something I look forward to, but something that I think is really important for us to note for people.
And Bethany, do you want to go ahead and unmute?
Yeah, hi. So my name is Bethany Mull, and I live over in Windsor. And I'm actually a former marine mammal trainer. So I have actually worked kind of more in the public setting of educating guests on marine mammals, pinnipeds, cetaceans, and also facilitating guest interactions. So I kind of felt like this was a natural segue with the volunteering here about kind of getting back into that. I've had some health issues, so I haven't been working, but I'm wanting to get back into my field, and I felt like this was a great opportunity to be able to do that with the seals. And kind of echoing what Christine said, we have this great ecosystem right here, kind of at our front door. So very excited to get involved.
Thank you. Let's go Bet, Debbie, and Kathy.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Bette Merritt, and I'm the volunteer coordinator for the Stewards of the Coast and Redwoods. Happy to be here and happy to see familiar faces and some new ones as well. So welcome, everyone. Thank you.
Um, I'm Debbie Brooks, and this is my fourth year doing Seal Watch. I'm a retired school teacher, so I kind of like being around the little kids and the excitement that goes with that. And I just love being outdoors and giving back to the community. It's such a wonderful place to live.
Okay, I guess I'm next. I'm Kathy. I live in Santa Rosa and I'm getting feedback, which is why I'm stuttering more. I've been doing seal watch for a number of years and I really enjoy it. I enjoy interacting with people and seeing the changes at Jenner and at the coast. And that's it. Thanks.
Let's go Lisa, Amelia, and Barbara. Oh, Lisa, you want to unmute?
A little trick is hit the space bar if you're on a
yeah.
computer. Oh, wait a moment.
I know it's different on a phone too.
Oh, yes.
If anyone's on a phone. Oh, Lisa, you want me to come back to you?
No, my taskbar popped up, and of course, it's right where the mute button is. So I have to get the taskbar to go away so I can get the mute button done. Sorry about that. Okay, so Lisa Bilodeau, and this is my 5th season doing Seal Watch. And I have to say, I did the naturalist course twice with David and Megan, and the biggest and most exciting part for me is being able to educate visitors about them out on the beach and breaking out the spotting scopes and the binoculars and letting them see the faces of these beautiful animals and just the joy that comes from them when they see them. It's just phenomenal. And it just brings a whole new awareness to them that they may not have had before. I'm done.
Good morning, I'm Amelia. I work for California State Parks as the Sonoma Coast District Volunteer Coordinator. So I'll be helping you with the onboarding process if you're new. And welcome, and thank you all for being here. And thank you for helping with Seal Watch.
It looks like maybe Barbara stepped away. So let's go Justin, Tam, and Alyssa.
Hi, everybody. Justin Lindenberg. I'm the Executive Director at Stewards of the Coast and Redwoods. Want to give a huge thanks to the team that organized this and is hosting the training on a Saturday morning, along with everybody that's here with us today. Sea Watch is a really special program for stewards, as I'm sure you'll learn more about during this training. And excited to do what we can to help promote outreach and education.
Hi, I'm Tam. I have a place in Jenner, just right there at the near the River's End restaurant, and so I'm there all the time. And thought this would be a great way to help protect the seals and get out there more, be on kayak and on foot on the beach there. So if anybody needs anything last minute, can often be available. And I wanted to check about next weekend. One email said Saturday, but the date says March 9th. So I just want to make sure it's Sunday.
It's Sunday, yes.
Okay, good. Okay, perfect. Thanks.
Hi, my name is Alyssa. This is my first time doing the Seal Watch, so I'm pretty excited. I'm a student at Santa Rosa Junior College, and I'm planning to transfer as in either an environmental science major or an ecology and evolution major. So I kind of just wanted more experience going out and uh, being in nature and educating people. I think it's really important that people know about our local ecosystems and how important they are. And yeah.
Thank you and welcome everyone. Let's go. Barbara, are you there? We'll
Yes,
go.
I'm here. Yes,
Great.
I'm here.
Sorry, I skipped over you last time. We'll go Barbara, Tony, and Rebecca.
Hi, I'm Barbara. I'm a returning volunteer, and with phasing out of some of my work projects, I'm looking forward to spending more time with the adorable seals. And I love the ocean over there, and just looking forward to working with the tourists and educating them about the wonderful seals over there.
Hey, Tony, you can unmute yourself.
There we go. I think I did.
Yep, I got you.
Okay, great. So I'm Tony Cohen. This will be my third year volunteering with Stewards for Seal Watch. But when I first moved to Sonoma County about 50 years ago, I stumbled upon that seal colony, fell in love with it, and it was my daily escape from my job as a lawyer. Anytime I could get out there in the early evening or afternoon, I would go. Then I don't even remember how it got to my attention that Stewards was doing this, but it came to my attention, and that's when I got involved with Stewards. And I also do tide pool volunteering and whale watch. And I just love that seal colony for all the reasons everybody has explained. One of the things, after watching them all those years, I did not know they actually give birth there, and you can see them nursing and weaning the pups, which is just a wonderful experience that the visitors especially like. So that's my story. Thank you.
Okay, can everyone hear me? Hi, I'm Becky. I live in West Sebastopol, down Bodega Highway a bit. I'm brand new to this. I just love going down and observing the seals myself. I love going to the ocean, and I just wanted to become a part of, something to help the community and help protect the seals. So I'm just kind of starting out and curious about how it all works. And yeah, so that's all. Thank you.
Teresa, Frida, and Kathy N.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Teresa Walter-Skirchen. I just moved to Santa Rosa from San Francisco, but in San Francisco, I did some docenting at the Botanical Garden and a little bit of docenting with MidPenn. So I'm new to like the ocean ecosystem facts and especially the seals and their life cycle. But I'm really looking forward to getting to know the Jenner ecosystem and the seals life cycle facts and everything that goes with that. Thanks.
Unmute. Okay. Hi. Hi, let's see. Hi, I'm Frida. Let's see video.
We can hear you.
Oh, you can?
We
Okay.
can. Thank you.
Okay. Hi, I'm Frida. I started volunteering for Seal Watch in 2018 and have not been available the last couple of years because of medical issues in my family. But the first, I think it was the second year, we had the opportunity of another volunteer and I to rescue a neonate. And it was brought to the Marine Mammal Center and then released in Drake's Bay. And we got to be all a part of that. And that was incredible. And just have a really special relationship with the seal colony and love seeing year after year the changes in the river and with the colony. And anyway, I'm hoping to be able to volunteer more this year.
And Kathy N., are you there, or Doug?
I think I might have jumped ahead. So for some reason I'm on twice. So I think that's why I'm
that's
getting
you
an
too.
echo.
Okay, great. That explains it. Doug, are you there?
Hi, good morning, everyone. My name's Doug. This is my second year with Seal Watch. I'm also in very close proximity, and so it's just easy to coordinate everything with everyone, and I love learning from everyone else that's active in the program.
Is there anyone that I've skipped that hasn't had a chance to introduce themselves? And I think Beth might have just come into the meeting as well. Anyone I skipped? Okay. So I think, Beth, if you just joined, we are just introducing ourselves and saying why we're involved with Seal Watch. And we are glad to have you. So if you want to put yourself in the chat, if you don't want to just get put on the spot, feel free to put your welcome into the chat, the questions in there. So I'll introduce myself now. Have we gotten everyone?
I'll introduce myself again for you, Lisa, as well.
Okay. So I'll introduce myself. Hi, I'm Lisa Bader. I'm the program director for Stewards of the Coast and Redwoods. I am really so excited to be part of Stewards in this program because I remember coming to see the seals. I don't know, I think it was maybe 35 years ago that I first saw the seals and the pupping out at Goat Rock Beach, and it just has really stayed with me all these years. In fact, I remember watching a seal catch some sort of like fish and throw it up in the air and swallow it down out at the river mouth. And so just all the dynamics that happen out there it's really incredible to be a part of and an incredible opportunity to help educate people and connect them with these animals. So we have a little bit of an agenda today. I will let Claire maybe go over that in a bit, but I thought I would talk a little bit about stewards. Is that okay, Claire, if I just go into that part?
That sounds great, but I'll introduce myself for those that joined in late and tell a little bit more about myself first.
Great.
So my name is Claire. I am the volunteer program director or manager of the Seal Watch program. This is my 2.5 year, so I'm really excited to be back and doing this. My 9 to 5 is that I work for the Marine Mammals Center. I'm in the development department, but I also volunteer with the Harbor Seal Hospital. And that means, like Frida had mentioned, when we get neonate pups, which are the ones that are just born and separated from mom, that's where we rescue, rehabilitate, and release these animals. So I have some experience there, and of course, the fantastic people that work in that field and that work at the center. I also am involved in a couple different projects up and down the coast, including the sea urchin removal project and things like that, which really began my interest just as a recreational diver in marine mammals and marine ecology. So I think, like a lot of people here, it felt like I had a connection into a greater world of learning about marine mammal ecology and eventually educating and then changing my career to the Marine Mammal Center. So for me, it was a bit of a journey, and I'm so glad to be here with Seal Watch, with everybody that is here and has been spending, for some of you, quite a while doing this every season. And for those new faces, I'm so excited to welcome you, and thank you so much for coming. And thank you, everybody, for putting this presentation on, Lisa. This is wonderful. And thank you for going over our agenda.
Okay. So we will talk, I'll show you, let me see if I can. Okay, a couple more people joining us. I'm actually going to go back to the agenda so everyone can see what we're up to today. And if you are here and you did not register for this training and you're new to Stewards, if you wouldn't mind putting your name and contact information in the chat, you can either send it to everyone or just send it to me. Then we can keep track of you and we can send you a follow-up. We will be recording this training so that you can watch it again later, but also we can share it with people who may be getting ongoing training throughout the season. And then that way we can just keep everybody in our communication loops. Thank you. All right.
Hey, Lisa.
Yes, Dave.
Can I ask, can everybody just put your first name and last name in the chat? It'll help for our training next weekend. That way I can remember. And also, some of you like to be called a different name than what's on your the name we see, like maybe Rebecca or Becky. So just put your first name, last name in the chat, and that way we just have everybody's name. Thanks.
Thank you very much, David. That's super helpful. So I'll tell you just real briefly about Stewards. Most of you know about Stewards. We are a nonprofit organization, and we've been around for about 40 years, and that has a lot to do with Seal Watch, which David and Claire will talk more about. We have a cooperating agreement with California State Parks, and about 11 full and part-time staff and a board of directors. And I'm going to just read you our mission statement. We are a nonprofit located in Sonoma County, California. We work in partnership with California State Parks in the Russian River District to support volunteer education and stewardship programs. Our mission is to protect the natural and cultural resources of Armstrong Redwoods State Natural Reserve, Austin Creek State Recreation Area, and Sonoma Coast State Park through volunteerism, environmental education, and stewardship for generations to come. Obviously, you're here, so you do know a little bit about us. We do also have community education and other events, and you can find those on our webpage under our events tab. Excellent. So I'm actually going to pass this right over to Bet Merritt. And Bet is going to introduce herself and welcome you. I'm just going to advance the slides. Okay, go ahead, Bet.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Lisa. It's wonderful to see so many people here. I love seeing the volunteers returning year after year. That lets you know just what a joy this program is. And a hearty welcome to all the newcomers. As Lisa said, the Stewards, we're a nonprofit, volunteer-driven organization. We have a very small paid but dedicated staff, excuse me, excuse me, and a mighty army of nearly 300 volunteers. So we welcome you, we appreciate you, and as I like to say, our volunteers are literally the lifeblood of the Stewards of the Coast and Redwoods. If it were not for folks like you, the Stewards would not exist. So you provide an opportunity to care for this special ecosystem that we live in, as well as to help educate the public and thereby facilitate a greater appreciation for this very special ecosystem. So thank you, current volunteers, for all that you do. Hearty welcome to new volunteers. We look forward to getting to know you. And all of you help make our little place on the planet much more special. So thanks very much for all that you do.
Thank you, Bet. Now I'm going to stop sharing. And David, are you ready to share your screen? David is going to share his screen. He's got a few slides for us. And unmute yourself.
All right. Can you hear me now? Yay. Can you see the slideshow? Yay. All right. I live on Zoom, so I should somehow be able to get this going. I am super excited just to be part of this team and again, like other folks said, there are just so many people that make this all happen. And I think that's really important to know. And there are many people that are not here today. They're volunteers, and you'll meet. Hopefully, is Bill Rupert's going to hopefully be still walking out there. Has been doing this for many years, and so even though I've been very involved with stewards for the last 13 years, I also feel like a beginner. And what I'm going to do is share the story. I was thinking one of my the roles was to share the history of Seal Watch. And this is an exciting moment in time because this is our 40th anniversary for Stewards of the Coast and Redwoods that used to be called Stewards of Slavyanka, which meant Little Russian Girl. And this is 40 years folks have been going out and for stewards of the Coast and Redwoods, I'll just call it stewards from now on, Um, that when it began, it was just a group of volunteers that chose to go out and educate and protect the harbor seals. That's how the organization began. And what's it's really important for us to know the story. When you go out there, you'll be storytellers. And the land that we're on is Kashaya Pomo. They were the first peoples of this land. They've been here for 10, 20,000 years. And just down the coast from here, there's a village site that's 8,000 years old right on the coast. And so I think it's important for us to know the story, to know the background of when we go out there. It's very humbling. And obviously, the work and being out there, it's important to kind of come in a place of reverence and humbleness. So we're right on the edge, and the story behind um, Seal Watch, I put this, there's a lot of text here, but I want to I'll send this link, I'll put this link in the chat so you have the slides that I'm showing you. But in 1985, exactly February of 1985, which is almost exactly 40 years ago, Dian Hardy got word of a well, let me just read it because I think it's much better than me trying to interpret some of this. The city of Santa Rosa um, was growing, and the sewage problems of in Santa Rosa, the water wasn't just pumped up to the geysers like it is now, most of it. But they, um, during the floods, during the winter, they would release sewage into the river. And in 1985, there were some big storms, and raw sewage, there was an accidental release. They were actually allowed to release 5% of all the sewage at any point, but there was an accidental release. And the river residents were shocked. They were angered about what happened. And the day before the release, which was later found to be illegal, the Press Democrat, Dian Hardy, had read in the Press Democrat that the Fish and Game Warden said that he felt there would be no difficulty with the seals. And after all, the dogs had been held in wastewater for 30 days with no ill effects. And this story is like, whoa. Um, and basically, what happened was as the sewage literally flowed down the river, the harbor seals that were there took off. They were like, we are out of here. And they had to leave. And like we know, this was pupping season. And so it people came together, and what um, what they realized is that they went out there and they were thinking, well, we want to protect the seals. And what they realized was, the sewage was bad. It was not a good thing that happened. But the tourists and the people that came out with their dogs and the people that were, nobody was out there protecting or even educating the public about the harbor seals. And so that began the story and the journey of Stewards of the Coast and Redwoods. And that was the beginning of Seal Watch back in 1985. You can read the rest of this story. What I wanted to do is I'm going to show you some historical documents, the archives. So this was one of our Seal Watch manuals, and I'm putting this link in here because you'll be sent a updated Seal Watch manual. But it's actually really fun to go back and read this particular Seal Watch manual because it has some old quotes and some stories and pictures, and it's nice to know what happened before you. but I'm going to say a disclaimer up front because I know staff here is going, David, don't put this out there. Um, and so, but uh, just know that there are some logistics that we're going to go over, and Bet's going to help you a lot going through the volunteer forms, and Amelia and Claire and Lisa. You have a whole team of people, even Justin, that will help guide you through being a Seal Watch volunteer. And it's a learning process. You get to go out and shadow some people and see what happens. Okay. There we go. Our website is a great resource. Um, we have incredible signage out there, and some of it's being updated along the way. But this is what the people as they walk down see, and you'll get more information on our interpretive signage. So I just want to cover quickly some of your role and responsibilities. And this part is really important. Claire and I will emphasize this next weekend, Sunday, right? Everybody say Sunday. And that your interaction with visitors, your you're educating. And so it's really important that you know we're not enforcers. So you don't have to enforce anything. And we don't want you to put yourself in a position of being seen as a ranger or being an enforcement person. Don't try to tackle somebody that wants to go hug a harbor seal. Um, please don't engage with people that have a dog that's off leash and try to grab their dog and tackle it and put a leash on it. And I know that sounds silly, but we've had challenges over the years with just Seal Watch volunteers not realizing that their role is just education and have a presence. Just by you having a presence there and being a really nice, approachable person, that's what's important. You're going to find that you're going to get very passionate. You're going to get very upset. And in fact, when I did shifts and have done shifts, I've had people yell at me just for saying, hello, the harbor seals are out there. And so we'll go over how to work with folks that can be challenging. That's the best way. A couple other things about your role and your responsibility. We're going to go over safety in a moment, but there is a Mammal Protection Act, and we have incredible people in the group, our colleagues here on the screen, that know and the background and the laws around the Mammal Protection Act. We work closely with the California Academy of Sciences and the Marine Mammal Center. You'll hear more about that. But just know you have support. So if you need information, we'll get that to you. Sometimes your role might be that there's a harbor seal that looks injured or that's bleeding or there's a problem. And Claire will go over that more specifically. A lot of times what I found with our role out there is that people are curious. They're really excited. They want to go take a picture and they don't realize that the harbor seals, they will realize because there'll be a rope and signage, but it takes a lot of just educating, letting them know about what's going on out there. And then swimming, I'll get to that when we go over safety. So you're going to see pictures of our signage, which has improved greatly over the years. And you'll learn about our role out there. We talk about staying, you'll see 50 yards or 150 feet back from the harbor seals. And sometime we'll all talk about how to figure that out. And we get to go out there for pupping season that's starting right about now-ish. And then you get to just hang out. You get to be there with kids, with families, and safety. This is the last part that I'll go over. Safety is critical. your safety is most important. Your safety, if it is, you'll find times when the waves and the water is coming up and over the spit behind me that you can see in my, well, in my picture. Um, and it's coming up and over the sandbar, and it's too dangerous to go out there. Most of the time, we will try to send an email out, a warning. I work with Beach Watch and NOAA doing a program, and basically we do the same thing. You'll get an email that says, big storms coming in, high surf, um, really be careful. And we will actually at times recommend not going out because of those conditions. They can happen in March. Once we get April, May, it's not too bad. You will get winds, and those are basically, we celebrate the wind out there because without the springtime winds, we don't have upwelling. Without upwelling, we don't have harbor seals. So we'll go over the biology and the ocean dynamics that are out there, and it's great to know about upwelling. So your safety, super important. And then second comes public safety. And public safety is, it's a challenging one. There are every year, anywhere from 1 to 5 or 6 people die at Goat Rock Beach every single year. And so along the Sonoma Coast, um, people die right out at the coast. Most of the time, they're playing with the waves, and it's a sleeper wave. And because of the coastline, um, basically they get swept out, and you can't get out. And so it's really dangerous. Please, for your own safety, don't turn your back to the waves. Let parents, sometimes you'll see little kids, 3, 4-year-olds playing in the surf or playing tag with the waves. And that's where your education comes in. You don't want to jump in after them, but you really want to, you can help out when you're out there. So, and you can be the first one to, with your radio to call, or your cell phone to call the Rangers or 911 if something does happen. And then harbor seal safety, you're going to become very attached to these cute little things that are out there, and you'll learn more about harbor cell safety. A quick check-in just to let you know, we'll repeat this and give you training on radios and our walkie-talkies or radio procedures. We're constantly trying to upgrade and work with those. And then you go out there for different shifts. We have a number of people, and we'll clarify the shift time. And that has changes over the seasons, but there's a morning shift and an afternoon shift, and we'll go over that. And it's so special being out there. And you're going to find people from everywhere that come out, and you're going to visit. The kayakers will be out there, and how you communicate them can be challenging. And we now have, which is exciting for the first time, in the last couple years, somebody that's at the Jenner Visitor Center tabling when you're out at the, or you might be in this role too, so you'll be doing both roles. This is a fun place to be because people are there all the time, and our visitor center is right there. And I just love being out there. There's more than just harbor seals. There are very funny pelicans, and they're very cute harbor seals. So we have about 3 minutes left in my time before we take a break. And I'm going to stop my share. Every day is calm and quiet out there. Go ahead, and I know, raise your hand. Well, you could virtually raise your hand too, if you are a current Seal Watch volunteer. Current Seal Watch volunteers, just wiggle your fingers or give a thumbs up in your reactions. What I love about the program is we have amazing people, amazing naturalists, biologists, people that come from far away. People travel from the Bay Area, from Sacramento, just to come out and do a shift. And it just amazes me. It's like, wow, once a month, once, every few weeks, they travel really far just to do one shift. So questions, do we have anything in chat? Any questions? And again, Claire's going to spend a bunch of time on other things, but please read more about the history in that old manual that you won't be taking literally. Otherwise, I'll get in trouble. It's a historic document that's fun. All right, I'm going to end 2 minutes early and then turn it over to Lisa, and I think we're going to go somewhere else next.
Thank you, David. We are about to take a break, kind of along the lines of safety, and Claire might cover this too. We do use a Google email group for communication. Claire might talk more about that. And I just wanted to, if you do sign up to be a Seal Watch volunteer, you'll be added to that group. You can unsubscribe, but it's a great way that we communicate with each other. And we always want to make sure that when we're communicating that the title of our thread has to do with what we're talking about. And we'll talk more about using that group as we sign up for that. I also want to mention there are 2 Lisa B's involved in Seal Watch. So there's Lisa Billadieu and myself. And so whenever, thank you for waving, whenever you write something into the Seal Watch group, make sure you always use last names, please. That really helps us out. We've had a bunch of different confusions over the years. So thank you. Great, we're a minute early. Let's come back at 10:50 unless you want to add anything, Claire.
I think for now our break is good, but maybe 10:50 is in 2 minutes, so maybe 10:55 would be a little bit better. Give us a 5-minute break.
Oh, sorry. I have that it's 10:44 right now.
Oh, I do too, but my computer doesn't. Okay, 10:50
Okay,
sounds good.
10:50. Okay, great. See y'all then.
Hi, I'm Amelia Shaltimova, and I'm the Sonoma Mendocino Coast District Volunteer Coordinator with California State Parks, and I'll be helping with onboarding. Should I go through the paperwork on the website, on the Stewards website? Would that be helpful?
I think just maybe a very brief overview. You don't have to go through bid or impact, but maybe mention all the important points, please.
Okay. So there's just 2 required forms and 2 optional forms in the long-term volunteer paperwork. So it's just the volunteer service agreement and the Seal Watch duty statement. And if you volunteer for any other programs, then it would just be the extra duty statement for however many programs you would like to be involved with. And then there's a pre-designation of personal physician form. In case of injury, you would be covered under our workers' comp policy and our tort liability policy if a visitor is injured by accident. So the pre-designation of personal physician form is to let us know if there's a specific doctor that you would like to see in that case. And then the visual media consent form is also optional if you're okay with us using your picture. And then there's also a Better Impact online database that California State Parks uses to keep track of volunteer time. And I'll send a link to that to create a profile once I receive your paperwork if you haven't created one yet. And that's about it for now. There's a couple required trainings, but I'll be sending out more information about that. You don't have to worry about it right away. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Amelia. Anyone want to add? Bet, do you want to add anything to that at all?
Yes, thank you, Lisa. Thank you, Amelia. Amelia gave you a lot of information in a short amount of time. The paperwork, it's required. We'll help you with it. It's not complex. You can access it a couple of ways. First of all, on the Stewards website, under the volunteer tab, there is the onboarding packet. Frankly, some people find that a little cumbersome at best. So the path of least resistance seems to be to have Amelia set the paperwork up for electronic signature via DocuSign. That takes a matter of minutes, painless, again, path of least resistance. We'll help you with this every step of the way. We are here for you. You have a lot of support with the Steward staff, also with Amelia as far as setting up your better impact page to record your hours. So it's one step at a time. I know we're giving you a lot of information, but rest assured we are here for you. We value you. We'll take good care of you, and we'll be here to hold your hand every step of the way. Thank you. Oh, and one other thing. I'm going to be leaving soon to go out to the coast for a coastal cleanup today at Goat Rock. So when this is over, if anyone wants to go out and enjoy the ocean, pick up a little trash, join me. Thanks.
Thank you both. So Clary, would you like me to share my screen again? Okay.
That sounds great. Thank you so much, Lisa. And David did such a wonderful job going over our history and a lot of our roles that there might be some slides I skip in the interest of time. There are a lot of slides here, and I think my favorite ones are at the end, which are talking a little bit more about the animals and who we'll see out at the coast. So thank you again, everybody, for coming, and we will get through this. All right, Lisa, let's go through, I think, the next few. David covered this. Here are some images. We started in 1985, as David touched on, March through Labor Day. So our first date is really March 1st. The harbor seal pups are born in early March. So these are very pregnant females out on the beach. What we see in general, just so I can set the stage for our harbor seals, is that lower in warmer waters, so in southernmost parts of California, harbor seals give birth earlier. And as those warm waters come up the coast, that's when we see more births happening here. So it kind of does depend on climate, on water warmth, but we should start seeing harbor seal pups in the rookery later this month, early April, and it goes through about Labor Day. And that's the last day that we are out there on the beach as volunteers. Next slide, please. And I think we'll have time for questions at the end, but if you have any questions in the meantime that are pressing, please put them in the chat, and Lisa can maybe keep an eye on that and relay any that she thinks I should answer while I'm chatting away about these seals, because I get really excited. So we are located at the haul out at the confluence of the Russian River and Pacific Ocean, as David spoke about. One thing he didn't mention is that the haul out tends to change shape pretty often throughout the season. So you might go out one week and then come the next week and it looks entirely different. We do have a ropes team that I'll talk more about, setting up those ropes to protect visitors and from the seals and vice versa. And we will have to be rearranging those ropes a few times throughout the season just as that landscape changes. Next slide, please. Our second location where we have the boat launch table for visitors is at the Jenner Boat Launch, and that's next to the Jenner Visitor Center, or most people know Cafe Aquatica is right over there too. So I highly recommend, if you did want to volunteer at the boat launch, grabbing a coffee or breakfast from Aquatica before heading over for your shift. It's just a great day. We get so many visitors through the boat launch because, of course, we get the kayakers, we get boaters, we get people that are just making a bathroom pit stop and wander over when they see the cool skulls and pelts that we have on our tables. So it's a pretty exciting time. And this way, we have a really good foothold for visitors that are coming in through kayaking out to the seals where we can't really contact them from the beach. If we can catch them at the boat launch and really strive to educate them about what we're going to see out there, how to keep a proper distance of 150 feet, even on the water. That's a really great way to kind of divert any future interactions that may otherwise be prevented. Next slide, please. David had mentioned that we have some really wonderful signage. A lot of people will come out onto the beach and still be extremely surprised to see seals out there. So I'm not sure, I think a lot of people walk out onto the beach without really paying attention to the signs, but they are out there and they have some really great information about the Marine Mammal Protection Act, and that the requirement is to stay back at least 50 yards. And we'll talk about that a little bit more. There are also no dogs allowed on this beach. So if people with dogs, if you see them approaching, and I've done this multiple weekends in the past month, you can always point them over to the other side of Goat Rock on Blind Beach. That is a dog-friendly beach for dogs on leashes. Next slide, please. So we have in our binders that you will get and we'll go over next weekend, we have a lot of tips on keeping your distance away from marine mammals, but also some funny ones like this and the stories that I could share, and I'm sure most of our longtime volunteers could share, and other people in this field about people getting way too close to marine mammals are always extraordinary to me. I was down at Año Nuevo on New Year's Eve, and the ranger down there was telling me that they had a man put his 2-year-old child walk up to an elephant seal, a full-grown elephant seal, and put his 2-year-old child on the back of this elephant seal, which are, at least 2,500 pounds. So there's no limits to what people might do if they are not educated properly about how to keep a safe, respectful distance, both for their own safety and for the animals. Next slide, please. So David had touched a little bit on the agencies and the laws that protect our marine mammals. The National Oceanic Atmospheric Administration, or NOAA, U.S. Fish and Wildlife, and the Marine Mammal Protection Act of 1972 are all some really core legislation that enable these species to be protected, and also set that safe distance and demand that animals do not be affected from their behavior that they would be engaging in. So if you get close enough to make an animal move away from you, that's way too close. And that's kind of how we think of it at Seal Watch when it's hard to measure an exact distance from these animals. We also have marine protected areas in this area. So MPAs, California Fish and Wildlife, do work along the Sonoma Coast, and California State Parks, who of course we have a partner with. And we'll talk a little bit more about the contact information. So if you see something that you really don't like, you can call the Jenner Visitor Center and they can call a ranger. We have numbers in our binders at the Jenner Visitor Center, the boat launch, and the Goat Rock Beach binder, which have contact information to report things that you see. And especially, like David touched on, we do not want you engaging directly. So if you can make that call, if you feel like you really need to, that is absolutely the way to go. If you don't even feel like making that call and you just don't feel safe and want to get out of there, that is the number one thing we encourage. Please do not engage. But there is contact information if you ever want to report somebody acting inappropriately around animals, or again, you can call the Marine Protection or the Marine Mammal Center if you see an animal that's injured. So we do have all of that contact information on the beaches. Next slide, please. This is another slide from NOAA, just kind of illustrating that Marine Protection Act requirement for people to stay far away. This is a really good illustration of what that looks like. If the animal sits up and looks at you, you're already too close. Do not get any closer. If the animal is fidgeting, especially looking like it's going to flee from you, that means it's disturbed and it's time for you to back away and maintain that distance. If the animal is fleeing, it means that you have directly interfered with this animal's otherwise normal behavior, and that's way, way, way too close. In Seal Watch and other organizations, we call that flushing. So if you get close enough to an animal where an animal leaves the beach and goes back into the water to protect itself, that's called flushing. That is what we were actively trying to avoid. The reason for that, if you would go for the next slide, please. The reason for that in harbor seals is that they are an extremely skittish species. And what that means is that when moms come out on the beach to give birth, unlike other species of seals and pinnipeds, mom will give birth and then go back into the water to feed herself so she can produce milk to support that pup. That means she's leaving pup on the beach alone while she's just in the waves, just offshore. But what happens is people get too close. They'll see a pup alone on a beach, or an off-leash dog or an on-leash dog, and somebody will try to get too close and either pet that animal, move it, maybe move it thinking they're protecting it. We've had people pick up baby seals and bring them to the Marine Mammal Center thinking they're in danger. What's actually happening is this baby is left on the beach while mom is hunting and can still see the animal. She can still see her pup. She's just off in the water feeding herself, and she'll come back and provide milk for the baby. So when this happens, when mom sees someone messing with pup, she'll protect herself because she can make more pups next season, but she doesn't want to put herself in danger. And that means that pup is abandoned. And we call that maternal separation. So when that baby loses its mother that early, if he's left on the beach or to, human interference, dog interference, that's really not a good thing. And that is primarily when the Marine Mammal Center receives pups, like Frida earlier had mentioned, neonate pups that are newborns, separated from mom, usually because of people intervention. And they come to the center and we keep them for a couple months just trying to recover their body weight. If mom's been gone for too long, they lose fat, they lose nutrition, they lose hydration because they get hydrated through mom's milk. And so all in all, it's just a really, really bad situation. And we are here to educate people, in part to keep that safe distance, because that's what keeps moms and pups together and keeps those pups healthy. So these numbers are from, I think, 2023. We had 46 flushes, which again is when those animals are disturbed enough that they move into the water. And those flushes were caused by 16 kayakers, 11 beach visitors, and 9 unknown when these animals did just flush. It is also a natural phenomenon. If they sense something, if a eagle or something swipes too close, these animals can flush due to natural causes, but we never want to make them change their behavior because of human presence or interference. We did have in this year 29 dogs on Goat Rock, and that caused 4 flushes. So if dogs are off leash and they see these animals just lying there in the sun, they will usually run straight for them. There's been a lot of injuries over the years, a lot of fatalities in cases like this. So that's one of the reasons why this beach is a non-dog friendly beach. There's Blind Beach. Please instruct people or welcome them to take their dogs over there. And we'll talk a little bit more about the language on how to do that next weekend. David and I will be helping you navigate that. But what I usually say, and what I actually said last weekend to somebody out there was, the rangers will come and it's about a $500 fine. I think it's $450 to $500. Maybe somebody can correct me, but I'll usually say, I've seen the rangers out there. If they catch you with your dog, it's a really hefty fine. I just don't want you to have to pay that. So maybe you should take your dog over to the other side of the beach. And that typically works. Again, never feel like you have to engage, please. All right, next slide. In the same year, in 2023, we had 4,239 visitors. I have the stats for 2024. We just haven't put them in yet, and I want to say that it was more visitors. I think we had, of course, lower amounts during COVID, and then they've just kind of been building steadily through that. So Goat Rock, we had 2,527 recorded visitors while we had volunteers on the beach. And at the boat ramp, we had 1,712. And again, I think these numbers are just growing. And that is great because that means we have more opportunities to educate people about this wonderful rookery that we have in our backyard in Jenner, and also how to properly interact and view these animals with respect and distance. Next slide, please. So our mission at Seal Watch is to educate, inform, and inspire visitors to protect the Pacific Harbor Seal Nursery on the Jenner Coast. And again, educate is the primary part of that. And protection, I think, is a part of that. If you educate people about how to respectfully interact with these animals and keep their distance, and you do it in a kind, engaging way that really inspires them to want to be a part of this thing and to interact with these animals and be able to watch them in their natural lives, I think that does end up protecting these animals, just because it gives people the tools to interact with them respectfully and with safety for everybody involved. So that's why our mission of education is so important and so critical. Next slide, please. Thank you, Lisa, for doing this. So again, education is inspiration, and we really rely heavily on that positivity. We're not enforcers. We want to use storytelling and stewardship to share information and experiences. And the more that you go out there, our veteran seal watchers know that you always have a great story of you see a live birth. You see a young animal nursing. Maybe you see a pup that still has its umbilical cord attached because it was born just that morning. We also have some other very cool photos that I'll show at the end of this presentation of some stories and some individuals among the seals that have come out and visited us over the years. So again, just to emphasize, if an interaction feels unsafe, remove yourself, report, call the Jenner Visitor Center, call or radio our other volunteers, and remove yourself from the situation. And even like David had mentioned earlier, the weather can get rough. If you get out there and you told everybody you signed up, you get out there to the beach and you decide that it's just not safe, please do not go out. There's no consequences, nothing like that. We just want you to be safe. And if you do not feel like going out onto the water, or if you see even a group of people or an individual or anything that makes you uncomfortable, please do not feel obligated to go out there. We want this to be a fun and safe experience for everybody, especially our volunteers. So for any reason at all, if you're not feeling comfortable, please dip out. You can let us know. You can call or text me. My personal cell number is always available, and just let us know, and that is perfect. That's exactly what we want. So next slide, please. This is a little bit more information about the Jenner boat ramp, which I think we'll go over next weekend as well. This is our volunteer, Erica, enthralling some young naturalists. And I have to say the boat ramp is maybe of the two my favorite place, just because you have the opportunity to talk to so many people, especially so many kids. And we have this wonderful table of samples and specimens, skulls, pelts that we just can't bring out to the beach because of the sand and the wet and everything. So they're all at the boat ramp, and there's such a tactile way and such a visual way for these people to learn about these animals and what they mean in our ecosystem. So you can kind of see in this picture, we have those pelts that the lady has her hand on. One of those is an otter, a sea otter. One of them is a river otter. People love touching those. We have some different skulls of California sea lions, harbor seals, a dolphin, and a California black bear, I believe, as well as a pelican skull that we use at that table. So it's just a really exciting time, and it's such a good, feel-good way to engage these visitors. And I think we have some more pictures, Lisa, if you wouldn't mind scrolling through the next couple. Here's those skulls. I absolutely love them. Those two little ones in the front are this otter and the river otter. And it's just so much fun to have people guess what these might be and then to educate them. And one of my favorite things is holding up a California sea lion skull, a juvenile, and a California black bear skull, and they look almost identical, just for the ways that they've made. Maybe there was a past evolutionary trait that they shared or a branch that they shared, and it always gets people so excited. We also have stickers and this and that, and it's a lot of fun. So next, some more of the pelts and the dolphin skull. We have pamphlets, and we always get visitors. Oh, you can get forward. We do have pamphlets and papers at the boat ramp, especially about where you can take your dog, other trails in the area, a little bit of information about the Marine Mammal Protection Act, etc. So at the boat ramp, you also still get to see wildlife. I promise it's not the beach where you're standing right over the colony and the rookery, but wildlife does come to visit you. So this was a boat ramp visitor. Can anybody guess who this is? What species this is? If anybody wants to unmute and just say it.
It's a sea lion.
Thank you, Christine. Yes, it is a sea lion. Next one, next slide, and we'll talk a little bit more. It's a juvenile California sea lion, so you can tell because it's smaller and it doesn't have that big mound on its head. A female would be bigger and a male would have that mound on its head. We do get California sea lions up the river in Jenner. You'll see them pretty often. Not as often as the harbor seals, of course, which are the ones in the rookery, but these guys will come and visit you. I've seen them catch big fish, I think a salmon once, and he was just kind of sitting near the boat ramp, just ripping it apart. So you'll always see really, really cool things when you go out there. We also have the resident osprey, bald eagles, some other wildlife. So I promise if you're at the boat ramp, you're not missing out on the wildlife that's around because it's just such a rich environment. All right, next area or next slide. So Seal Watch at Goat Rock Beach. This is one image that shows the jetty that's out there. And I just wanted to mention while we're on presentation, the jetty, you'll be out there and you'll see a lot of people walking out on the jetty. It's something that we don't recommend for visitors or for our volunteers because it can get so slippery. It's really not safe. And a lot of people are surprised. You could be out there, the water looks calm, and then suddenly a wave crashes and wipes over the entire jetty and soaks it. So when you're out there, it's beautiful. We just advise not to step out on the jetty if you can avoid it. And if you feel comfortable, please let our visitors know that that's not necessarily the safest area either. Next slide, please. So we do have a ropes team, and at the end of this will be a little bit more information, or you could always email me, text me, call me if you're interested in joining our ropes team. Next weekend, we will be setting up ropes. I think it always depends on the weather and what things look like after our meeting. So these ropes are, like David had mentioned, we have some great signage that goes up on these stakes, and we just put them up about 150 feet beyond the seals to really prevent people from getting up close to them. This is a delicate point where we don't necessarily have the ability to tell people where they can't go on a public beach, but these ropes are there as a signal of how far away you can stand and respect the Marine Mammal Protection Act and keep these animals safe. So while it's not illegal for somebody to cross these ropes and go closer, again, we're not enforcers. These ropes are a really good tool to illustrate that distance to our visitors and to put up a little bit of a barrier that keeps people from getting way too close to these animals. Next slide, please. This is just a really great photo of some seals on that beach. So this is what a day out there might look like. You can see some pups, which are of course the smaller ones, and then the harbor seals are just laying about sunning. They do hunt at night, so they spend their days sunning and reoxygenating their blood and all of this good stuff, and it's just a great viewing opportunity. You also see all of the birds. There's some pelicans back there, some big brown pelicans. You'll see white pelicans, seagulls, of course, cormorants. The osprey are my favorite. We also have the pair of resident bald eagles out there. So, and Jenner is a fantastic place to see birds of prey. So there's a lot of great birding up there, and you occasionally will see red-tailed hawks and other hawks, especially Cooper's ferruginous up in the hills, and sometimes you can kind of see them from the beach. So it's a pretty exciting little wildlife refuge out there. Next slide, please. Visitors in the nursery. Here's an image somebody captured of the bald eagle, and I did want to shout out to one of our volunteers, Diane Monroe, who's provided most, if not all, of this beautiful photography. She goes out there to do photography herself and got into Seal Watch, I believe, that way. But she's always provided us with some of the best images. And these bald eagles are great to see out there, but what we've seen in the past out at this beach in Jenner is that bald eagles will sometimes prey on the very young and dead pups. Which is great because it means they're helping us clean up the beaches, etc. They're not, you know, if a corpse is on the beach, then maybe it's not so good for the rest of them in terms of what can build up. So we do love scavengers, we do love predator birds in that way. It is part of nature. It's hard to see if it happens. Again, if you see an injured seal pup, feel free to call the Marine Mammal Center. If you do see a dead pup, we can give a call to the California Academy of Sciences because they will sometimes include those pups or come pick it up just to make a study of how they were living, how they died, what they were eating, what's in their bellies, and that can inform the science that helps protect these animals as well. So it's always amazing to see a bald eagle on the coast. There is that little portion of like, why are they there? Are they hunting our seals? So just something to keep in mind. Next slide, please. This is a redhead. This is a pup that we get. We see him every year, and it's pups that were born specifically in a beach closest to San Francisco, where there is a lot of iron oxide or rust in the sand that they're born on. So it rubs into their coat, and it turns them this beautiful red-orange rust color. And we'll see him. This photo was taken, I think, the year before last. And we saw this redhead multiple times over that season. But you'll see him closer to San Francisco and Point Reyes. You'll see him everywhere. And it is just a mixture of the rust in their fur. So when they molt, that color does go away. But while it's there, it turns them this gorgeous color. I don't have any information on if it affects their health or anything, but these animals do seem to be really healthy and happy. And it's just kind of a cool thing to point out to visitors. So we love to see it. Next slide, please. A little bit more about the ropes team, please contact me if you're interested in setting up, maintaining. We've had Debbie and Deborah and Carol are some that over the last few, and Lisa, I think, over the last few years have really helped make this happen. Doug as well. So thank you all. Again, the landscape out there at the beach changes on a whim. So we have to keep a pretty close eye on these ropes. We don't want to lose these ropes and these stakes to the ocean just because they're a little difficult to replace. And if we can keep them, that would be best. I think we do actually need to re-up the signage. I think I was looking at the ones from last year and they were a little distressed looking. But we do have some beautiful signage, both in English and Spanish for visitors to see that we put up on the stakes so they know why the stakes are there and what they're protecting behind it. Next slide, please. So here's a Seal Watch ropes team on a beautiful day. I think this was last year, possibly. And I think it was last year, possibly. I was out there doing the ropes and we just happened to be out there on a day when we saw the most whale breaches I've ever seen in any one time in any one place ever. It was incredible. There were whales breaching like every couple of minutes. I think we'd see a couple breaches. So again, going out there and being part of this and just enjoying the wildlife and using it as an opportunity to really immerse yourself in the natural world is fantastic, and I could not recommend more. But you can see this was an absolute gorgeous day. Birds were out. It was sunny. I think we were all pretty hot, actually, which is surprising for this coast. And it's just a really fun thing to be part of this team doing something with a lot of purpose. So I hope you join. Next slide, please. Some incredible views. These were the brown pelicans. Again, if you're local or if you've been part of Seal Watch, you know that these guys are out there all the time and they do get very close to the seals. You can see they're basically on top of that little group of seals that's making a break for it into the water. But again, just some amazing views out there. And I would say bring a camera, bring your own binoculars, whatever you'd like, just to enjoy the nature while you're out there. Next slide, please. Okay, so tools of the trade. What Stewards provides at Goat Rock, we have a backpack, and that has binoculars, our field binder with all the paperwork in it, volunteer vests, two-way radios for safety, camp chair, rope, mallet, and fence stakes, and they're all stored in a storage unit that's on the beach, kind of closer to the bathrooms down at Goat Rock, and that's what we provide. At Jenner Boat Launch, we have table chairs, tablecloths, California Parks volunteer vests, field binders, education materials to pelt skulls, and more that I just absolutely love. That's my favorite thing. So please bring your own. If you're out on the beach, bring your own sunscreen. Even on the grayest days, you can still get a really good burn, as we've all, I'm sure, learned. Please bring layers. It's usually cold, but on the days when you go out there expecting it to be cold, sometimes it is shockingly warm. So layers are always a good thing to be able to remove. Sunglasses are always a good tip because it can get really bright. Your own camera just to capture photos for Seal Watch, which would be great, but also of the animals, whatever you see out there. Snacks, critical. Again, I highly recommend Cafe Aquatica. Also, Gold Coast Coffee in Duncan's Mills has hosted a couple of our meetings in the past, and the owner really loves us and what we do. They're just some great food out there. Water, always bring water, please. And if you have a hot drink, that'll keep your toes warm while you're out there in the cold. And it's just a really nice thing to sit in the campfire, watch seals, and enjoy your drink and snacks. So again, highly recommend Cafe Aquatica and Gold Coast. Those are my two go-tos. Next slide, please. And I think, if I remember where we are, here's what a shift report looks like. This is our 2023 shift report, but you put your name, date, shift if you're in the morning, afternoon, time in, time out, weather, if the river mouth is open or closed. And again, sometimes the river mouth is open, it's beautiful. Sometimes there's a sandbar there and it's closed, and you just mark that on there. And then you keep a track of visitors engaged during shift. This is, I think, this is the Goat Rock sheet. On the Jenner Boat Launch sheet, we have like visitors of pedestrians, visitors, kayakers, and you can kind of delineate each visitor per those groups, and then you total them up. And then while you're out there, please give a count of the seals that you see and how many adults, how many pups, if you see any sea lions, elephant seals, which has happened. Not in my time, and not that I can ever recall, but it has happened historically on this beach where an elephant seal will haul out on that beach. If you see any whales, please record that. Please call me if you see whales, because I'd actually love to come and see them with you. Births witnessed, if you see any live births on the beach, again, on the beach. Again, this is a nursery and a rookery, so these animals will be giving birth out there, and if you are lucky enough to catch it, that's pretty lucky. If you see any dogs on the beach, please give us a count there. If you see any flushing, so again, when people, animals, dogs, whoever get too close and those animals go into the water. Sometimes drones, which are listed here, helicopter, if a loud vehicle or motorcycle are going up Highway 1, that can also flush the animals. So if you can keep track of what you think caused a flush, that's really great, and that gives us more information about on these animals' behavior and what we can do to better provide them the space that they need. Next slide, please. Okay, so this is a little bit of information about the animals that we'll see on the coast out here. So pinnipeds means seals, sea lions, and walruses. It means flipper-footed, and it means that animals can live in the water but come onto land for periods of time. So a lot of times if you're hearing scientists, researchers, if they say pinniped, they mean seals, sea lions, or walruses. And that's just some of the lingo that is used in the arena, so it's a little bit nice to have that understanding. And here, of course, is a little harbor seal, I think, and then a sea lion diving off some rocks. So next one, please. They're in the family Otariidae, which means eared seals or walking seals. That includes California sea lions. And this means that they have external ear flaps. So if you think of like Shrek is how I explain it to people, where he has those little things sticking out of his head. Sea lions have those little ears, and they move and swim with their front flippers rather than their back. So California sea lions walk on their front flippers, and when they swim, they're really using their front body and flippers to propel them through the water. Next slide, please. And the family, oh God, Phocidae? Somebody could help me out. I should know these for my job. But this includes harbor seals, and that means earless seals or true seals. So the difference between California sea lions and harbor seals, if you just see a head in the water, is that the sea lions have those ears. Harbor seals just have little holes in the side of their head, and you can kind of see it in the central seal. In this slide, he's just got that little dot behind his eye, and that's actually his ear. So they move on their bellies on land, and that is called a highly scientific and technical term of galumphing. That is the scientific term, and that's how they move, like a muscled worm over the sand. And when they swim, they really swim with the rear part of their body, so their rear tail, and they kind of use their front flippers more for steering. Steering. So that's kind of a main difference between these harbor seals that you'll see and California sea lions. Harbor seals also have a shorter muzzle, they're smaller in general, and they have those beautiful spots. So if you're seeing them in the water, there are some key ways to distinguish these species that you'll see while you're out there. Next slide, please. Northern elephant seals, again, we won't see these guys as much up where we are, but they are the second largest seal in the world. The largest is southern elephant seals, which are literally twice as big. The males can get up to or more than 13.5 feet long, up to 4,500 and actually 5,000 pounds. The females will get to be 10 feet long, 1,300 pounds. They can dive down over a mile. They're born at 75 pounds, and at 1 month, they're 300 pounds just from drinking mom's milk. So we will occasionally see these guys, but these are the ones you'll see if you go down to Año Nuevo or Point Reyes. And one fun fact that I like to quiz everybody on, and I think will be a little complicated if I do it here, but I always ask visitors if they can guess how long these seals hold their breath. And the answer for harbor seals and for California sea lions is about 20 to 30 minutes. The answer for northern elephant seals is actually 2 hours. So it's a pretty extraordinary difference. And I think that's just one of those little facts and storytelling aspects that really grabs people's attention, because who the heck would have thought that any mammal could hold their breath for 2 hours? And it's always just a fun little insight to share. And I'm sure our veterans and people, if you're interested in seals and seal watch, then you'll come up with your own facts and stories and things to share over the time. And it's just a great way to engage visitors. Next slide, please. California sea lions, again, they're playful, noisy, intelligent. They do kind of a bark that sounds more like a dog than other marine mammals. Chocolate brown to light blonde. The males get up to 7 feet, 600 to 850 pounds. The females will get up to 6 feet, 200 and 250 pounds. So there is quite a size difference. And if you look at our skulls at the visitor center at the boat launch table, you can see the difference in the sizes between the full-grown males and full-grown female skulls. So males develop their sagittal crest, which on this very handsome gentleman is that little bump he's got on his head. And that literally is just a bone crest that goes down the middle of their skull and anchors their incredible shoulder muscles, which again, they're swimming and moving with their front flippers. So that's all muscle that you see in their neck and shoulders, and it's anchored to their skull in that one little crest. And that's what gives them that bump. And again, you can see his little external ear flaps in this wonderful picture. And in his mouth, of course, he has a huge chunk of salmon. And this photo might have actually been taken in Jenner, but I could be mistaken about that. So you will see him occasionally up where we are. Next slide, please. Pacific harbor seals are called true seals. They have those spotted coats in a variety of shades, including that redhead that we talked about earlier. They can get up to about 5 to 6 feet, up to 300 pounds. There's not that much difference visually in males and females, unlike the harbor or California sea lions and elephant seals. They're around the same size. They are born knowing how to swim, which is really, really cool. They can hold their breath for 20 to 40 minutes. We have about a full population of 500,000, and 34,000 of them live in California. They're born around 24 pounds. And we'll go over, I think, next week, some of the markers that you can look at when we're out on the beach for if a pup is healthy or not. That 24 pounds at birth, after they're born, we just want to see them getting fatter. So if you see an animal that looks, you can see its ribs, it's lying on its side, and you can kind of see the concavity in its body. That's a pretty good sign that might be not a healthy pup. And there are other signs like that we can look at as well. But these are the little guys that we're out there to educate and protect. Next slide, please. Pacific harbor seals on the Sonoma Coast. So pupping season, again, in Southern California, it starts in February and goes through April. It's later and longer as you move up the coast with different climates and warmer waters. They spend about 50% of their life on land. Pups nurse on mom for 4 weeks while mom hunts. So again, mom will leave pup on the beach, which means really vulnerable. And she'll go into the water and hunt and then come back and provide milk. They're opportunistic feeders. So they eat lamprey, salmon. Lamprey-like salmon spawn upstream in the Russian River. And lamprey are kind of like a eel fish-looking thing. So I've seen them sitting at, if you know the Fishitarian, I've been sitting down at those picnic tables, and I've seen sea lions, harbor seals, and cormorants and other birds just diving and coming up with what looks like snakes out of the water, and those are lamprey. They are present at the Russian River mouth year-round. There's maybe 2 weeks in the fall where the majority of them leave to do a foraging journey, and that's after they give birth, raise their pups. They'll do about a 500-mile loop and come back, and that could be north. Oh, no, I'm sorry, not 500-mile. They go farther north and farther south to feed, again, opportunistically, so whatever they catch, and then most of the time they'll come back and return to the Russian River mouth right there at the rookery. Next slide, please. So again, if you see an injured marine mammal that you'd like to report, please call the Marine Mammal Center. We have our hotline here. You can find it online. Again, it's in all of our books and literature. I have little cards that you can take home from our information on the beaches, and that tells you a little bit more about who to contact. There is a text line that I will provide as well, because service on the beach, I guess we haven't talked about this, service on the beach, cell phone service can be spotty. So often what I do, and what I think I'll ask our volunteers to do, is if you do see an injured animal and you don't have service, make sure you get as many pictures, videos of both the animal and the location that it's in. And then if you travel back to the parking lot or wherever you can get service, if you wanted to text those into the Marine Mammal Center, it gives them context of what the animal looks like and where to go to find it if they send their volunteers to assess the animal for rescue. All right, next slide, please. So this is me, and one of the kids that I had the most fun speaking with. He was a little marine mammal scientist and knew probably more than I did, actually. And he and his family really loved coming out to the boat ramp and visiting us and learning more about the seals and the other animals that are present in the bay there. So it was just a really exciting time. Again, so thankful for everybody here, the Stewards of the Coast team, and all the volunteers returning and new. If you're interested in this program, I think it really is worthwhile, and we're doing so much good out there for the seals, for our community, and really we're here to stay. So Again, any questions? I think I'm ending a little bit early, but hopefully that gives us a little bit more time for questions and maybe, more time for the rest of the presentations after this. But I think for now, Lisa, if you agree, I'll open it up for any questions that people might have.
That sounds great. Anyone who would like to can unmute themselves and ask a question. I don't see any in the chat.
Hi, it's Lisa Bilodeau. Just I keep hearing about the ones without heads, and then I saw something in my news feed today, which I did not click on, that said they know the cause of it.
Yes.
And so I wanted to know if you could address that because there's so many different things that are being told.
So David, yes, David just put that article in the chat, and I sent this out to all of my colleagues this week as well with a big warning: do not read if you're feeling down. It is a hard read. Yes, we do know the cause. We don't see it as often up here in Jenner. I don't think, to my knowledge, we've never seen it. But the cause of that is actually coyotes. So coyotes have been known to predate on deceased marine mammals that wash ashore. And more recently, we've studied them. They could have been doing this all along, and now we're just seeing them do it. Is where they will predate on very young pups on the beach, especially in Año Nuevo and farther south, even at Point Reyes and the Golden Gate Baker Beach and others like that. So they will predate on very young pups, again, that are maybe mom went into the water to hunt. I think this specific article is talking about elephant seals more than harbor seals. So same thing, those pups are born at 75 pounds, but they're still vulnerable. And the coyotes will come in and hunt those very young pups if there's some on the fringes or that are unprotected, or if a pup does die, which is natural, dies of natural causes, the coyote will scavenge on its body, and they do go for the heads, which is smart of them. There's some really nutritious stuff in the brain matter, and that's, I think, what scientists are attributing this phenomenon to. So we actually caught it on video, so it isn't.
I remember David mentioned it at one point. Yeah. Two other quick things, because I won't be able to be there next week unless something changes with my schedule. When can we go online and start signing up for shifts? Because if I don't do it right away, my days and times are going to go bye-bye.
You can sign up today, I believe.
Okay.
If I'm wrong, but
and the other thing was just a comment. In the binder, there's a lot of pictures of the, I just want to encourage people to use this with the kids who are pre-verbal or can't use the spotting scopes and other oculars, because they totally relate to them. So I love those pictures, and just a food for thought. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa, for all that you do. All right. Any other questions? We got plenty of time, and we can go back through any slides if there's anything people want to cover, or if there's anything you've read in the news again, or oh, that was one thing actually that I did want to go over. I think Lisa or somebody had put in the chat early on about, somebody had mentioned bird flu.
Yeah.
So this is, and David and anybody feel free to hop in here with me. Bird flu we have not seen in this part of California yet. We've seen it farther north. We've seen it way far south. We haven't seen it. The Marine Mammal Center and other organizations I know are on it. So they are out on beaches swabbing fecal matter, swabbing nose samples, just monitoring and waiting to see if and when bird flu does show up so that we can be ready. Again, the Marine Mammal Center is the foremost marine mammal hospital and teaching hospital. So we have information from around the world. We train veterinarians and professionals from around the world. So we really are the hub of this kind of science. And I can promise you that everybody that is aware of bird flu is working their hardest to monitor it and just see how things go. But for the moment, we have not seen it. And there is active swabbing, active testing to make sure that that remains and see, what we can do if it ever does come to this area.
Yeah, I was going to thank you, Claire, because I was going to mention with Beach Watch and the program I work with, we survey dead marine mammals and also dead birds, and we use gloves and masks, and so I think there is somebody actually that actively twice a month we walk Goat Rock Beach and survey it for birds and dead marine mammals and dead birds the H1N1 avian flu virus is just right now down in South America. In 2 years ago, they lost 52,000 pinnipeds, and it's pretty devastating. And there are beaches. I mean, you can't even imagine what's happening down there. It's hard to really even fathom it. And if you think about COVID amongst humans, basically the same thing is happening down there. And you can read up on it. It's a good thing to be aware of. It's good not to go touching or the birds and then going home to your cats or dogs. So be really aware of it. And thank you for bringing it up. We'll try to post some more recent articles that you could read up on.
Yeah, but again, trigger warning, especially with the way things are now. I think people, I just try to make people aware of not taking on more than you can handle. And they're difficult to read. They're difficult to conceive. So, thank you so much, David. And yes, and if you have any questions about the science of marine mammals, seals, all of this stuff, you can always go to the Marine Mammal Center website as well, Cal Academy. All of those websites have some really great information. You can also email, call, text me directly and ask me a question. And if it's information I think everybody should know, I could reply to the group and we could all stay in discussion that way. So there were a couple things in the chat. Frida had asked main predators to seals, which is usually a question that our visitors ask. So that's a fun one. Other than humans and dogs, the main predators in the ocean to these seals are great white sharks. And we happen to be in a great area for juvenile great white sharks off the coast here. I think we're the biggest breeding ground for great white sharks north of Mexico. And that's why one of the reasons that we see so many at Salmon Creek. So these are fat little snacks for those big sharks, and that is typically what we see in the water. Other things that affect the health of these seals, Frida, I think that are worth sharing is a lot of times harbor seals and other seals will come into the Marine Mammal Center and other rescue organizations with trash entanglement. So if they're getting wrapped up in fishing line, garbage, that kind of thing, that's also bad. That's also something we keep an eye out on for the beach. So if you do see that, please give an immediate call to the Marine Mammal Center. But primarily in this area, it's sharks. Farther south and farther north, it's also orcas. Bethany, I heard this week on the East Coast, a zoo harbor seal passed away from bird flu. I think I haven't heard that one. I think there is... I think there's possibility of it spreading. I think there's also a lot of publishing that things might be attributed to it before necessarily it's verified. One of the biggest conversation pieces for bird flu, again, is that migrating birds. So as migrating birds return to beaches and are dropping droppings on the beaches, that might also spread it. So it's something to keep an eye out. And then David just posted Sonoma water pinniped monitoring and estuary reports. Did you want to talk a little bit about that, David, actually, while we're here?
Yeah, I'll do a 20-second little blurb.
Please.
So at Sonoma Water, because we do flood control, we're responsible for the estuary management. And there's a Russian River estuary management plan. And so you'll actually see that we'll be going out there over the summer and early fall when the mouth closes and everything begins to flood. And we'll actually use big excavators and open up the mouth of the river. And we'll cover this on our field trip more specifically because it's a wild scene if you're ever out there. So we, as stewards, we actually are contracted by Sonoma Water to monitor the pinnipeds. It's a different program than Seal Watch. And they go up and you monitor pinnipeds. Maybe Justin will mention a little bit about it. But with that, we do an estuary management plan. And so there's some really good information on Sonoma Water's website. And there's a team there that Jessica Martini-Lamb and Andrea Petitich that actually work with the steward staff and others on this program.
Thank you so much. And I think it's Justin's turn, and we talked a little into it. But thank you so much, David. And please let us know if you're interested in that as well.
Can people hear me? Is that
Yep.
okay? So I'm going to try to be super quick. Hi, everyone, again. Thank you for still being here with us, and for the fabulous presentations that have already happened. My task today is to share with you a little bit more about the Team Up calendaring system and protocol. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. We use a software called TeamUp for much of our volunteer programs, and there's a couple different ways to access it, and I'll show you the more difficult way first, and then go to the easier way. So as long as people can hear me and see my screen, I'm gonna go ahead and keep sharing. Um, So the more difficult way is navigating through our website. You have to go to volunteer. Stewards.org is our website. Volunteer opportunities is the next prompt. You have to scroll down to Sonoma Coast volunteer opportunities and then go to Seal Watch. That's a long way to get to this information. So for folks, what I recommend really to do is to just type in Seal Watch Stewards into Google, and the top result should be our Seal Watch volunteer page, which includes some information and background about the program itself, where and when we meet, training requirements and things like that. And then the topic of the moment is team up because, we have some folks that have been around for a bit with us today, but we also have new folks and we want everybody to get signed up so that we have really good coverage for the season. Um, Essentially, what I'm talking about right now is covered in this video instruction. So there is a video that kind of walks you through everything that I'm talking about right now. It's like 12 minutes. So if you need a little bit of extra support, that's a great reference to look at. Other than that, what you'll do is come to the Seal Watch landing page on our website and sign up for shifts. So you'll sign up for shifts through TeamUp like this, and we're going to look at a week instead of a month. And we have our Jenner boat launch shift, our morning and afternoon shifts at Goat Rock State Beach. And really, it's really, really simple. You don't need to log in, you don't need to have a password or anything like that. You click on the time and the date that you would like to participate as a volunteer, and then you click on sign up with your name, address, email address, and phone number. So please also include your phone number in this information. And that's kind of it. So, like if I were looking at my month, I have stuff going on the next couple weeks, but on the 15th, I really want to hang out with Erica because she's so wonderful at the boat launch. So I would sign up for a shift and put in my name, email address, and then I would append my phone number to that as well. So this is the way to sign up for shifts that we use. Um, you know, Lisa, myself, that we're all also really happy to help people to get signed up for shifts or walk you through this. So reach out if you have any questions. But other than that, that's our protocol, and Lisa will send the link to the signups after this Zoom to everybody that registered and sent their email, and as well as hopefully everybody that added their info in the chat after. And it looks like Lisa Waddell had a question.
Oh, yeah. So I have accidentally signed up for things like the wrong
Yeah.
location or the wrong ship. I don't think I can go in and edit it. We have to let you know, and then you guys will take us off. Is that still the protocol?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Justin.
Hi, Debbie.
Hi. I just wanted to mention there's also the app on your phone that's really easy.
Ah.
The
Through
Team Up
Team Up?
app. Mm-hmm.
I didn't even know about that.
Yeah, you just hit the icon and you're there.
That's great.
Yeah, we have so many Team Up calendars because of the volunteer programs. But we are getting more sophisticated, so it's really, I mean, I'm stoked to learn that there's an app now that we could potentially use for it.
Yeah, it's
The
been
last,
Yeah,
the
thank you for
last
sharing.
Justin, if I could interrupt and just mention, we'll
Yes.
have what we do every year, and I think we'll continue, is asking our veterans and people that are experienced to put veteran or something next to their name so that people who are new and are looking to learn a little bit more and get a little more experience that's a little more instructional can sign up on the same shifts as people that have more experience so that we can have an effective partnership that way. So we will continue that this year. And please sign up if you feel like you want to learn a little bit more. Please sign up with somebody that has veteran or something similar next to their name.
Claire, thank you, Justin. I was going to mention that next Sunday, the 9th, our training, Claire will mention more about it, or Lisa, because we'll probably have more details. We'll probably be out there, rain or shine-ish. It looks like it could be, I don't think we have a big storm projected. But if any of the veterans that are here today, if you want to sign up for the 9th and we could meet you out there, and Claire, we can talk more about that. But we do have a shift available coming up for the 9th. And yeah, today. So.
Sounds good. We have a little extra time, so maybe we could, unless there's any other questions that people would like to address, I think it's looking beautiful out there, maybe a little cloudy if people want to escape and go out into nature today. So unless there's anything else we want to cover, Lisa?
I don't think so. I will follow up with an email to everyone about with a link to this recording and the team up, and also any details about next week. Are we meeting? Where are we meeting for the training next week?
So we park in that Goat Rock parking lot out towards the where the bathrooms are, and we kind of just congregate in the parking lot or over towards the entrance into the beach. There's that sandy lot. I'll be standing over there waving at people that I think I recognize or that look like they might want to be involved in Seal Watch, and we'll draft some people that way too. So it'll be great.
Yeah, and if you get out there 10, 15 minutes early, you just kind of get settled in as we go out there.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for that amazing presentation, Claire, David, everyone. Thank you all so much for coming. We're really, really excited for the time that you've spent with Seal Watch and all your time in the future. And definitely reach out with questions. And I'll also connect new people with Amelia and Bet. All right. So I think David and Claire might hang on the meeting a little bit longer. Everyone else, I hope you have a really wonderful day.
Thank you, everybody, so much for coming. And again, if you have any questions, please reach out to the group or to me directly, whatever you'd like to do. Hope to see you out there. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.